Yes, good night, Marcia. Good night, everyone. I'm very happy to be here again tonight. But I must warn you, I got warned today. Somebody told me, Caswell, you got to be careful. You attack a man who can be next Chief Justice of Barbados. They were telling me about their Marshall. He's slated to be the next Chief Justice because the current Chief Justice is going off. He's going to be 72. We can't extend any further. So they tell me now that word out that their Marshall is going to become Chief Justice. Lord help us. Um,
Well, let me
yeah,
tell you, you had me laughing. Listen, I went up into town today to get we got all the permits. I don't know if you heard everything. The police
yes.
actually told me, that from the 14th, today is the 18th, and from the 14th, that permit was ready. Mrs. Weeks, listen, the thing was ready from the 4th. I brought it in the morning of the 14th, and it was ready from the 14th. That's the fastest permit that we've ever gotten. I didn't realize the permit was ready by the evening. By the evening, the thing was brought in the morning, and the permit ready by the evening. I tell you all, listen. So when I was up there today, and so I didn't get to see a lot of things, but I was in town walking up and down, and I remembered last night, and I burst out laughing. People might think I'm mad, because well, you had me cracking up, man. Yeah, last night.
Well, I don't want to do that, crack you up. But everything is verifiable truth. You know, you
Yeah.
see, I would not rely on any economic forecast or anybody who walks around, anybody who is a professor from Gresham College, um, to give me any economic forecast or tell me anything. I prefer our homegrown. Well, he's homegrown too, but I'm talking about somebody who actually earned theirs. So, do you know about Gresham College? Gresham College is an institution in London. It named a
Mhm.
college, but it does not have students and it does not issue degrees or certificates or anything like that. What it does,
Hmm.
it was set up in 15 something. Is that 1597 to
Mhm.
bring new learning to the people in London. And so only the public lectures, it took about 104 a year. If you go there and you give a
Mhm.
lecture or two, next thing you know, you're called professor from Gresham College, but it's only an honorary thing. And you people walk about the place calling themselves professor, 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 and then walk up and give us economic forecast. So what happened to our professors? What happened to Michael Howard, who really earned his professorship? I prefer to listen to him. You know, I'm not a born and paid for a professor. You know, so ignore these people with that nonsense telling you what want the dollar will devalue. The only body that devalue the Barbados is the Barbados government. Our dollar is not floated in any markets; it is fixed, and the government determines where it is paid. When the IMF wanted us to devalue our dollar, Sandifer said no. Oinafa said no. Tom Adams said no.
Mhm.
So don't mind these people in the foolishness. Find another way. There's more than one way to skin a cat, they tell me. I never tried myself, but so you walk about people trying to frighten you and talk about we save the dollar. Not they save nothing. Don't let the people. Beatrice can't be so naive, you know. And for a man who walk about calling himself professor until he was caught, you really want to listen to somebody else?
So
Well,
so
well,
so what would be his motivation?
he
What?
is working for the government. He was working as a consultant with Paradise.
Mhm.
He, some of the money that is lost in the scheme went through him and out. So he has to justify it and has to pretend now that, oh, if we do that, we will um, cause the dollar to devalue to scare people. We are not stupid. Come with something else. That work already. Forget that now. Let me come on and try something different. That's what I'm asking them to do. But I and try something this time try the truth.
Hmm.
Call us the
But I
truth.
mean, when you see this comment on Instagram, people seem to really believe him. I'm seeing this thing has
But
156 likes.
if if people believe him, they either like him or they don't know any better. First of all, I would want somebody that give me advice to be credible. I do not know that he is credible. From the time you're walking about calling yourself professor, mind you, there are a lot of people who have doctorates that you get from university mills in the United States that you can't use anywhere, but they're walking about. They call themselves doctors of divinity and doctors of other kind of thing, and they only
Mm-hmm.
send in a fee. So that don't make them learned. I remember I had a guy who would walk around the place and call himself Doctor This and Doctor That. And then at a meeting with him one day at the labor department, and the labor officer keep referring to him as Doctor. I said, listen to me, he ain't a damn nurse. Doctor what? Let me tell you.
Listen, it's too early. It's too early. Tell me that again. Tell me, is a nurse walking around and calling himself doctor?
No, I said he ain't even a damn nurse. Doctor what? No, yeah, they're bowing and scrubbing because he called himself doctor. I see he's a damn doctor. Because
Oh,
when you get a title, people start thinking that you know a lot.
yes.
They know nothing more than anybody else. I told the labor officer, man, I said, listen to me, Doctor What? He ain't even a damn nurse. Since then, I think he bet and somehow got one, but in those days, years, was walking around calling himself Doctor This and Doctor That. So I don't mind the doctor. You must be credible. You must be, and when you get a doctorate, you must get it based on learning and work in your field, not necessarily somebody who go and people assign one to you, and then you want to use that to fool people and give people the impression that and get people to quote you because you walk about calling yourself professor. Ah, nonsense. Well,
Well, at least the DLP president for right now, DLP party, they hit back and they said it's foolishness. Foolishness. DLP says of the reason given for not paying back NIS debt. That was in the newspaper today. I don't know if you see it.
no,
You saw it.
today I was in meetings again, so I didn't get a chance to read the papers yet. I I want to see, I want to hear what they said, I want to read what they said because they are now coming out, but somebody got to force them out, because they are hoping that this government fall and it fall in their laps. They seem not to be prepared to do anything
To
to take it.
fight. Correct.
Huh? Now they're going to get up and fight. They're going to get up and fight like how the last administration fought against them.
Mm-hmm.
They got up
Agreed.
there and watch the current prime minister slice them up into little pieces with the help of the merchants in Bridgetown, help to pull down the last administration. I am not saying that they shouldn't come down. All I'm saying to you is that the people who wanted them down had ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Democratic Labour Party government at the time was they had money, they were making exorbitant profits, and the government decided they want some of it, but they want to keep all. And this party come into power and take the burden off of the people who can bear it and put it on the poor. And the poor walk about in red t-shirts. Well, more power to them.
Mm. Mm.
It
You
is
know,
amazing. It's amazing how Belgians allow themselves to be duped. But
why you
I
say
don't.
that?
But no, I don't. No, you see, there you can see everything with your two eyes. You don't have to be any Einstein to realize that these people trick you. But then they went back to the pause and trick them again. You don't have to be. Look there. I will not stop talking about the tax on water. Everybody in Barbados, when from Tormadon down, they were taking the burden of taxes off of the poor. But you know, when you earn certain amount of money, that was tax free. But then you don't pay a tax on income, but they make you pay tax on something else. So the taxes started going on the people who can least afford it. Even like VAT. People think that VAT is a good tax, which is rubbish. Because, so let me give you an example. You earn $100 a week. But let me go more realistic. $400 a week. I made 4,000. Not that that's the case, but just as an example, of course. I made 4,000.
Yes.
When I go to the market to buy something, anything, a bottle, and you go to the market to buy an oxygen bottle, express the value of that bottle over your $400 as opposed to my 4,000. So I am paying a higher percentage of my money in taxes. You see? So a guy who's making $10,000 a month, he can afford to pay the 17%, the 17.5% on these items.
Right.
It does not factor into his income so much. But a guy who is making, and there'll be a lot of people who make $400 a week, you know, and less.
Correct.
And they have to buy the same things. So you are paying a greater amount of your income in taxes than the people, even though they might be buying more stuff because they can afford more. But percentage-wise, you are paying. So the government over the years have started shifting the tax policy that existed at the borough to exempt the poor, to exempt the poor from taxes, and let the people who can afford it pay the taxes. Now it is going the other way around. If you have 10,000 poor people and you make them pay taxes, it will add up. And then the 4 rich people that you got ain't gonna pay none because the poor people pay the taxes already. And that is what is happening in this country. And then when you have the poor people just working to pay taxes, they don't have any savings, they don't have anything. The only thing they have is a job and the poor from the next week. Paycheck to paycheck. So they can't save. You make them a little bit better than slaves. What you expect these people to do now? Go to national insurance. That's the only place they can go to get their pensions in the later years. One time they used to put in the arms house because the borough came up with national insurance and thing, and at least give people some sort of independence. A lot of them stay in their own homes because then they could afford. Because Barbados, most people in my when they was young, worked on plantations, you know, to work in the field. So from the field to the arms house, that's what it used to be. Borough changed that. I know we want to change it back. We want to have back rich and poor because this government is destroying the middle class of Barbados.
Middle class.
The middle class was created by Borough, and it was a deliberate policy to create a middle class. It wasn't something that just happened. It was a deliberate policy to create a middle class. And the middle class then became bigger and bigger and bigger. And then they started living in big houses too, like the rich people. They want to stop that. They start to live on the coast. They want to take the coast from them now and get the foreigners. They want to give it to the defense force. They want to do everything else. These people ain't got no shame at all. They have no ideas. So they get the ideas from overseas. And the people who are overseas that are telling them what to do about Barbados does not have Barbados interests at heart. They want to see how best they can use Barbados to get what they want. Barbados is supposed to be for Barbadians. I don't want to live anywhere else. And I can't. I don't want to live anywhere else.
The way it is going, I mean, you heard the Prime Minister said that even where the Defense Force, they will have to they're going to move them. So a historic building like that is going to be turned into a hotel. Am I hearing that right?
Listen to me. I was a soldier.
I
The
didn't know that.
well, there are a lot of things that people don't know about me.
You don't hear that Caswell was a soldier. Listen, I was talking to one of the police today. They said, man, Caswell Franklyn, I love that man. I love that man. The people love you, man. I didn't know you were a soldier. That's why you're
Yes,
so no nonsense. Wow.
I
Continue.
don't know. I think I got that from my mother. And that Defense Force headquarters, that used to be, you can go into the caves under there. There are lots of tunnels and stuff under there that anybody occupying that land, there could be a threat to national security if they occupy that place. That place must always remain in government hands because look, when the British built it, they built it so people could get off the beach and go and stand up on the garrison.
Mm-hmm.
Garrison up with garrison, up with light and power. You got all kind of um, tunnels and walks under there that have been closed off for years. People know rediscovering them. When I was a young
Yes.
cadet, they won't last to go. They won't last to go because you can get lost in there. And they always have them under heavy lock and key. You cannot put something like that in the hands of non-nationals, people who do not have our best interests at heart. Mind you, I hear people talking about it would be good for tourism and all kind of nonsense. Sometimes it's everything into for tourists, I remember when I was a young soldier, I was a lance corporal then. We had some people came into Barbados on a ship. I was guard commander that night. And these people tried to breach the Defense Force headquarters. Mind you, I hit them in my butt, my rifle butt, put them down, and call the police. But they were trying to see how they can get in. But we were vigilant. I was a young little fella, and I just want to do everything right. And of course, young guard commander, probably one of the youngest I had because I was just over. I was a little boy. I joined the regiment, Barbados regiment, when it was before it became 16, but I could not get a number because I had to wait until 16 to get a number. So when I used to go on parades and stuff, used to call me Cadet Franklyn. But but as soon as I got 16, I signed on the dotted line and got a number. And these people don't know anything about it. As a matter of fact, I am one of the people that saying that you don't need this monstrosity that we call the Barbados Defense Force right now. What we need are more police.
Yes.
Instead of having soldiers who just sit down and shine boots when the day come, yes, of course, have a core of people who can handle riots and do ceremonial parades and all kind of stuff. But you do not need a defense force to be out there. As a matter of fact, it is contrary to law to have soldiers out there unless they are called out by the president or the governor general. Recently in Parliament, the Prime Minister gave herself the power to call them out too. That happened when it was in the Senate. It went past, and people really didn't realize it, but because once only the president or only the governor general could have called out the army. And what they used to do, it was a corrupt system because they used to give the chief of staff permission to work with the police for 6 months, and then after 6 months to renew it. They were only intended to be called out in aid of the civil power when the police were unable to handle the situation. Not when you have police handling the matter. You don't need the defense force, but they want to desensitize you to have soldiers on the street so it become normal. Soldiers on the street should never be normal. They should be on the street when there's a situation where they're rioting, or they're quality rights because the police can't handle it. And then too, they are subject to the directions of the police.
Right.
But
she went ahead. She went ahead and but I don't understand. So you're saying, I mean, there's nobody there in Parliament who would be who knows the law, to be able to say to you, but you don't have the power to do that.
But
You know.
the prime minister they did an amendment when they brought Shirley out of retirement and made him commodore and then chief of staff of the defense. Was a fellow who was too old. He was too old. My schoolmate, he was too old to occupy the position. He was past retirement age, and they went in and changed the retirement age to make sure that their man was in control of the army.
This is serious. Somebody here, you are saying
serious.
that we need more. We are saying we need more soldiers, more police. This person said the government has recently recruited 50 new graduate police officers. It was on the news. Have you not heard?
50 is scratching the surface. They want 200. They want 200. So what is 50? And then you have a lot of policemen getting old and retiring, going home, and tell you something. The police, the way they treat them and the way they pay them, because police are poorly paid in Barbados, you are not going to go there and put your life on the line for the pittance that you pay a policeman. So when the police get the opportunity, because we got a lot of bright young men and women in the police force, people who have master's degrees and all kind of stuff, but because of the job opportunities in Barbados, they join the police force because they can't find anything else. So when they see something that fits them, they go. So when the 50 that they just recruit, it's only for them back some. You first of all, let me go back to the old days. One time, what the police used to do. Police is a paramilitary organization, and this is how military and paramilitary organizations work. You have an officer corps, the intelligentsia, and then you have people at the bottom. The people used to refer to the soldiers that you get shot down as cannon fodder. The generals and things just stay in the back and let the fighters go up front and get shoot. But what you do with, you're recruiting police and sort of that kind of thing, you make sure the people are literate and they can be trained and trainable, and you take them and you teach them what they need to know. This decided that the police are going to ignore everything, just as qualified as school teachers, just qualified as everybody else. So if you can be qualified as a school teacher and get 13 weeks vacation a year, you can go there and put your life on the line. When you get this year, you can become a school teacher. Policemen used to be people who, in the old days, were not qualified, but they were good policemen, because a lot of those same policemen who were not qualified in the old days, when they started in the force, worked their way through the force, studied as they were working, and then some of them end up as commissioner, some of them end up as all kinds of things. Some of them even turn and become lawyers. But you want to bring in people, but without give them those higher qualifications, and then don't want to pay them. So what do you expect the police going to do? Leave? I would. What if I went to school with a fella? He didn't know brighter than me, and then all of a sudden he is working in some place. He getting $3,000 a month against $2,700. What are you gonna do? I can leave. I'm going to try to get the $3,000. So when they try to manipulate the police force, they didn't understand what they were doing, and they put the police out there now, where the police can compete for almost any job in Barbados, because these fellas are very well educated. You don't got the taxi policemen now. When one time I tell the policemen were intelligent, yes, and trainable. But now you have fellas that are intelligent and trainable and qualified for anything. So you have policemen who can leave. I was speaking to a policeman a few years ago in Parliament. He had a master's. He died in Parliament. He had a master's degree. What do you expect? And then the politicians come, and you have a fellow who can't even read, and you paying him $7,000 a month to come to Parliament every Tuesday, and then giving a whole bunch of losses on top of it. And then you think that is fair.
Right.
And then the policeman has to work now to 68. And those fellas have got to work to 50, and then they feel like they go on a bit longer. But they're going to get the pension for going home. A policeman go home at 50, you got to wait till 60 something to get the pension, you know. So if there's nothing fair, so the policemen can stick around, I don't blame them. I don't know.
Somebody here saying, what can be done to prevent the government from selling St. Anne's Fort?
Nothing can be done to stop the government from selling St. Anne's Fort other than an election.
Other than an election. Did you all hear that, guys? Other than an election, because honestly, I mean, a lot of these things that we remember we did the show, guys. It was 2 nights ago, and we saw all the areas in Bridgetown for sale up to the government headquarters. They wanted all of that's going to go. So if the Bridgetown that we see right now will not be the Bridgetown, if they have their way, it's not going to be what they have on the paper there. It's going to be totally different. Totally different. It's not going to be for us. That's just it. And this woman, this government, they are just going right. I mean, it's almost like bulldozers, you know, and they are just, all these buildings, they're gonna go, and all of the heritage sites, they're gonna go because they believe that tourism. I'm trying to figure these people. I mean, if you look at even just our numbers, the numbers are so low with tourism, but they put all of the eggs in the one basket. It's all about tourism.
Now, don't get me going on tourism. You know, I represent a lot of people in the tourist industry when they get into trouble. And sometimes they get into some trouble for some silly little things that don't really matter. And they treat them very badly. These people, like, for instance, I can call Sandals' name. Sandals treat their staff like dirt and terrorize them and tell them they can't join unions. People frightened to join unions at Sandals because they would lose a job. They come down here and they bring people in and pay them top dollar, and then unfair people. Then other hotels in Barbados, right now, people who used to work in the hotel industry in the 70s made more money dollar for dollar than people today, because they used to get this good service charge. Now the hotels steal the service charge. They steal the service charge because the service charge is supposed to be added to the bill and then divided among the people who do the service. Like, for instance, the people who cook, they will get more points than the people who serve, because the people who serve get tips as well. So the tips plus the service charge will push you over. But the fellow who in the kitchen washing pots, he ain't gonna get the tips. So his service charge point should be higher. Now the hotels in Barbados, they challenge them to the neck. Take the service charge, but when the government introduced that tax wrong, I can't remember when it was a tax on the hotels. But hotels were saying, but we already booked our rooms and stuff for these people. So when they took the service charge away from the workers and paid the tax. They pay the tax for the service charge. And then they're going to pay the managers the service charge more than they pay the people who actually doing the service. And if a glass break, service charge.
Wow. This is like slavery. It's slavery. And this is what our government, this is what they're propping up. And you know, I did my little research when I did the film on Barrow, and I realized that not much, Mr. Franklyn, has been done in terms of diversifying our economy since, you know, tourism. There hasn't been much. I mean, Barrow is one who really, you know, brought, you know, made it something that we could really benefit from, and formalize it, and, you know, did all the developed the product or tourism product. He played a very, very important role, but we haven't done much. Since I saw somebody with saying that coming to Barbados is so boring. It's a tourist that goes to different countries. It's boring. All he comes to do, and goes to the beach, and that's it. We have not developed our product, but we are now going to take our historic town, Bridgetown, and make it into just a place of hotels. I don't understand.
But then what happens? Our people become maids, room attendants, they call them now.